Hello, everyone, and welcome to Insum Interviews. And Insum Interviews is all about getting insight into technology trends in the best interest of the Apex developer. And I'm your host, Marc Ruel from the Insum Marketing Department. And today, our guests are Heli Helskyaho,
Hello.
aka Heli from Finland. Hello, Heli. And Adrian Png. Welcome
Hey,
both.
everyone. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks so much for taking the time for being here. And today we're talking about your new book, and which is called "Extending Oracle Application Express with Oracle Cloud Features." The publisher is Apress, and it's available at Apress, O'Reilly, and Amazon. And so, Heli, you are the CEO of Miracle Finland, a firm specializing in data and databases as well as AI. And you are an Oracle ACE director and a well-known and frequent speaker at Oracle events across the globe. And you're the author of several books on Oracle technology as well. Adrian, you are the Insum Senior Cloud Solutions Architect, and you're certified in several Apex technologies, and you're author of several books on Oracle technology as well. And you're a tireless explorer of new technologies, including most recently the metaverse, which we'll probably hear more about on the Insum Cinematic Universe. So, and like just reading off these bios just kind of leads me to my first question. You both have very busy schedules, obviously. Heli, you are a CEO and you're doing doctorate studies. So, I mean, how hard could that be? And Adrian, you are heavily involved in the Oracle community, and you're always out in front on technology trends and community involvement, and you both have families and day jobs. And so what kind of discipline did you impose yourselves to be able to finalize this project?
Well, I think for me it comes quite naturally because I'm a Finn, and Finns are very, we call it sisu, which means that if you decide to do something, you will do it whatever happens. So I kind of have that character in me, so it's easier to do things. If I decide to do something, I just have to do it. There's no choice. So if I have a deadline, I have to follow the deadline, and that's it. So that helps me a lot.
And for me, it's really simple. Just find a Finn or co-author. But yeah, I mean, Heli is truly hardworking. But we have to find ways to kind of coordinate our work, right? And I'm pretty much perfectionist myself, and when as Heli said, if we start something, we have to finish it. And yeah, so here's an interesting fact. Heli and I both actually live on the 60th parallel. The difference is we actually live on almost a completely opposite longitude. So in order to kind of make sure that we meet our goals, meet our targets, we actually have a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet.
A what?
And
spreadsheet? Why?
Don't faint, Mark.
No, I was doing the Apex developer. I'm not a developer, by the way.
Yeah, we do have a spreadsheet that kind of tells us, where we are on various chapters. And for me, the cue is if I see Heli way ahead in terms of chapters that she's completed, that really means that I need to spend more sleepless nights to kind of catch up.
Same for me.
So
no, but it's very hard not to finish your task if you agreed you do something, because Adrian is a good friend. So if I let him down, that would be very, very bad. So I had to do what I promised to do, and I think Adrian was doing the same. So yeah, I think we worked very well together.
So
Yeah.
I mean, do you like individually? Do you do both, like work a little bit every day on it, or do you? Oh no, she's ahead. So you spend the next 4 hours in the evening doing it, or how does?
Yeah, so the whole weekend, if I
Yeah.
see on Friday that Adrian is ahead, so I have to spend the whole weekend writing to catch him up.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually had to take maybe a full week off from work to kind of catch up with Heli, so that's how fast I had to go.
Okay. Wow, that's very committed, and we're all going to profit from it, obviously. So when you wrote this book, what were you hoping to give to the Apex developer? Like, when the Apex developer finishes reading the book, what do you hope will happen in his mind?
I was really hoping that a person would learn more about OCI, because when I've been doing my certificates for OCI, I have learned so much about the very fantastic functionalities. And I was very sure that not everybody knows about them, because I learned during the certificates and then later in projects as well. But I was hoping that this will kind of open the doors for these fantastic features, so that people will know about them and they will be able to learn more and use them in real life.
Yeah, and I like what Ali said, right? The OCI it has been and it will continuously evolve. And there's just so much out there that could be used to, um, add features to Apex applications. And they aren't super expensive to use, right? And people need to know that they can do it. They can do these cool things. And that's I think what we really try to build into this book, right? That you can do a lot of cool stuff.
And when going through the book and going probably very methodically through the features, is there anything that surprised you that you didn't know about, either of you?
Ellie?
There's always things you don't know about. And I think several of these features were published during our writing process. So there was a good chance to learn, because they didn't exist when we started. So yes, so we did learn a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. So like Oracle
so
is
many
at very
things.
high velocity and adding new things. Is this
Yeah.
still the case? Are they still like continuing to add? Or?
Oh no, they are. And
It's still the case. Yeah, there's more
Yeah.
coming all the time.
And I was thinking that Heli, we need to start working on edition 2. And actually to a point about things coming out
Yes.
new. So we had certain things that were planned that didn't materialize in the end. Right. One example would be the new identity access management. Uh, there's a version 2 that's coming out, or rather, it's already out. But those of us who are on older tenancies do not have access to it. We have to wait till the migration is done. And but we managed to add new stuff, right? So we had chapters on vision. Uh, Vision was very new. I think it came out when we went GA, general availability, in February, which when we were right, in the middle of doing it, and we just threw in that one chapter. There was speech. Um, I didn't get to put speech at that time because there were certain blockers that prevented me from doing so. And it was only, I think, this month that they made it available, and now I can actually showcase how you could use speech in Apex. So yeah, I think this book is probably going to be evolving as the OCI evolves, and hopefully, Ellie and I can work on that next year.
And yeah, I wanted to mention also that there was a recent announcement by Oracle about R, sorry, most people use not R but Python as their programming language, and that R was now added to the OCI database as a possible language to be used along with SQL. Do you see this as a positive element that's been recently added?
Yes, it's fantastic. So R has been in the database for a very long time. It was the first one after SQL, of course. But why I see it's very valuable is that now you have all the three languages. You have SQL, you have Python, and you have R, and you can seamlessly use any of those. So depending which one is the best in each use case, or in each sentence, or in each piece of code, you can just use that. So in the same project, in the same notebook, you can use either of these. So you can just build in a way that suits you best. And it also makes it easier for people to start with machine learning, because if you are an R person, it's so much easier now because you can start with R. You don't have to start with SQL or Python. Or if you're a Python person, you can start with Python. Or if you're a SQL person, you can start with SQL or PL SQL. So I think it's great. It makes it easier to start and it makes it more flexible to use. So fantastic.
And maybe to add, when we talk about the two, right, R and Python, um, they both have their own communities, and you would find, especially in R, there are a lot of uh, packages that are made available by statisticians, and they do really, really specific tasks that some people might need, and you may not find it in Python. So if everything is in this so-called converged database, then it doesn't matter because the heart of it all is still the data, and you want to run that code on the database itself, and you're going to be able to enjoy the best of both worlds, right? Be it Python, be it R.
So before I go on with my next question, I did want to mention that, Heli, you recently presented AutoML and AI services and machine learning made easy, and this was on the Analytics and Data Tech Casts channel, and it was a very good walk around of Oracle's AutoML and AI services on OCI. So I'll put the link in the description so people can check that out as well, to help them get an essential understanding of how it works, which of course your book goes into in so much more detail. And on that, like Adrian, you mentioned that there's ACI services such as language and vision and anomaly detection. Which one of these services would you say currently holds the most promise for the Apex developer?
Well, before I begin, I should mention that Heli will be at Cloud World too, and she'll be talking about pretty much the same topics, and she'll be covering this as well in greater depth. I don't have a particular preference. I think it really depends on use cases. What you kind of highlighted were some of the services that Oracle tends to call them pre-trained models, right? And then they are for very generic tasks. So if you, for example, wanted to find objects in the picture, you can use vision AI vision services to do that quickly. But more often than not, I think developers are going to find the need to build their own sort of custom models, and you'll be doing that through things like AutoML, which lets you build up your own prediction models based on your data. You could use something that's in Heli's book chapter on data labeling to custom train a vision AI model, and then use this in your Apex application.
That's some practical applications there. That's very good. And where do you see the combination of cloud and low code and machine learning bringing us in the future? Open question for both of you.
Well, for me, because my number one favorite is still database designing, because the problem is always with data. Every time it's a problem with data. And that usually comes to the question about bad database designing. And that is usually a reason of being too in a hurry. So you didn't have time for really paying attention to the data. So I really hope that this low code and cloud will give you more resources to really think about the data as well. So you don't have to think about maintaining the versions, upgrading, and so on, and you will get your applications built very fast and easily. So you would have time to think about the data and build the applications in the way that it does not allow bad quality data in the database. So that's kind of my number one wish and hope for this combination.
Adrian?
And to build on what Ellie was describing, so there's this saying everybody knows: garbage in, garbage out. Right? So data is the heart of any kind of machine learning project, and with low code, it actually helps us to make sure that we're getting in clean data because we have the opportunity to built-in validations and designing data models as they should be. We definitely want to avoid things like missing data where a lot of people like to put nulls, right? And this typically happens, and I've seen this in my past experience with the research community where they don't really put in a lot of money into developing apps for capturing their experimental data, for example. So they put all this typically in the spreadsheets, and spreadsheets, as we know, causes a lot of problems. And once you don't capture that data at that point, it's lost, right? But if you have an app and if this field needs to be filled out, you just indicate in the UI that says have to put something in and forces the user then to put in a value. And you recognize the benefits when you start building your machine learning models down the road because you have good, clean data.
And Heli, you mentioned earlier that 80% of the work is preparing the data, and then the other 20% is actually making it work for you.
Yes, that's how it is. So this would make this 80% a little bit less. So
Right.
if you start with a little bit better data, of course there's still work because you need to prepare it for the algorithms as well. So there's different kind of work for that as well, but it would make it less. And that could be automated as well because it is actually automated in the AutoML and in some of the other tools as well. So some of the transformations or that kind of things is done automatically. So yeah.
And if you could wave a magic wand, what other Oracle services would you suddenly make available to the Apex developer?
Tough one.
Well, I love maps, so I would do anything with spatial. So what we have with maps now is a good start, but I would work on that more. So I think converged database is super cool, and having things like spatial makes it even more cool. So I would build more on maps.
Mm-hmm. Adrian?
As we were talking about it earlier about the pace of evolution in the OCI, it's really hard to keep up. What I would say is it would be nice that eventually if there was something like we have in the Auto ML UI to be actually part of the Apex environment, and hopefully that would encourage Apex developers to adopt these machine learning models, the ability to create them and use them in the applications. Yeah.
That's great. So, and just getting back to your development of this book and all, would you have any advice for people, other developers who are trying to be a voice for Apex, trying to bring information to the community to help grow our knowledge collectively?
Yes, absolutely. Write, speak, share your knowledge. People are often very shy and they think that everybody knows what I know. And that is a mistake because people do not know what you know. So you have learned a lot of things other people don't know. If you are willing to share it, please do, because there's a lot of people who will evaluate that because it will be easier for them to learn if somebody is explaining it in a way that is easy to digest. So especially if you write it down, because when you speak, you can be more flexible on what you are saying. You have to prepare well and you have to understand the topic you're talking about. But if you are writing it down, let's say in a blog post, for example, you have to think very carefully how to explain it in a way that it's understandable. It's not too much. It's not too confusing and so it will be a simple way to explain the topic. So doing that will first of all teach yourself because you will learn so much when you are writing it because you have to think very hard. And secondly, you will be helping the other people with your blog post. So maybe start with a blog post or go and present if you feel like talking.
And I started actually blogging with a very selfish reason. I started blogging because I needed to record somewhere how to do certain things. and that's how basically it's my main motivation in the sense that documenting it to first of all show myself how to repeat this in the future, but at the same time that same knowledge could be valuable to others, and why not just share it, right?
I have the same thing. I forget things very easily because I have so many things I'm working on. Then I go to my own writings and I read how did it work, and what was this all about. So it's much easier than come back and understand how it was. Because obviously I'm getting old because my head is not always following, and I'm forgetting too many things. But it comes back when you're reading your own or somebody else's books or blog post or something. But people are different. Some people like to hear, some people like to read, some people want to test themselves. So depending how you learn it depends.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I heard Anton Nielsen saying exactly the same thing. He would not recall things and go back to what he wrote and to be able to catch up on it. But these are all excellent pieces of advice for people, and hopefully like more people will profit from your great experience and your knowledge. And if everyone gets in on starting to throw out their what they've learned, and it'll just make it so much better in the community. I say that, but the community is already quite strong. Especially recently, we've seen so many blogs and information coming from people, and so we hope that'll continue on for a long time. Heli, Adrian, I want to thank you for talking to us today about your new book, which is Extending Oracle Application Express with Oracle Cloud Features. And as you mentioned before, you'll both be at Oracle Cloud World. What an exciting event, the return of Oracle to large in-person events.
Oh, yeah.
And it's happening October 17th and 20th. Heli, you'll be presenting Machine Learning in the Cloud Without Any Panic. I love that title. And Adrian, you'll be presenting Oracle Cloud in a Nutshell.
Actually, Marc, the title is a bit off. They are supposed to update it.
Oh, give us a new title. This will be a scoop.
Yeah, it's supposed to be solving daily problems with the Oracle Cloud. Something like that. I have to check my notes, but yeah, it's going to be updated soon, and it's going to be about how I use OCI and Apex personally, right, to achieve my own personal goals, like learning a new language, for example.
Excellent. So obviously, two very educational presentations from two very thorough presenters, and that's it for today for Insum Interviews, and hope to see you next time. Take care.
Thank you, Marc, and thank you, Heli.
Thank you.
Heli, and thank you, Adrian. Thanks again. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.